Shit, maybe.
Yeah.
I never
Hey,
thought
everybody.
of that.
Welcome to today's episode of Elseworlds Exchange. I am Sal.
And I'm Joel.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you especially to our friends at Home Comic-Con for setting this little soiree up. This has been an amazing show. Just caught Greg hosting the Valiant panel before us. Did an amazing job, as I knew he would. He's a good guy. He knows what he's doing. Check him out. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about Superman costumes in comics. Some of the best, some of the weirdest.
Oh, yeah.
I figured, Joel and I have been talking about this. And if you're not familiar, of course, I am Sal from the YouTube channel Comic Pop and Comic Pop Returns.
Hi, Sal.
Hey, and you?
Well, I'm Joel from the comic book channel Cape Joel, and together we do a show called the Elseworlds Exchange around this time every week.
Exactly. So normally we take a topic, break it down, but for about an hour and just have a grand old time. So welcome to the show. As I said, we're going to be breaking down some Superman costumes. I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of analyze it, because throw a rock and you'll hit a superhero who's gone through 1,000 identity crises. And Superman is one of those things where, like, he would think he's immune to it because he's so iconic, because he's so important, because
part of the collective subconscious.
He's a pantheon. Yeah, exactly. You think Superman, you probably have an image in your head. And that is both why it has stood the test of time, but also why it is so noticeable when you shift the suit. And
he's also the progenitor of the superhero costume in many ways. So many of the things we take for granted, so many things that some people think are cliche, it all came from Superman. He's the patient zero of it all.
Exactly. I cite the cape, the underwear on the outside of the pants, the
boots,
the logo, the boots. Yes, that's it's one of those things that I always took for granted was the boots. It's like something that I would just assume is implicit, but when you don't see it, when they don't do it,
it's weird. It's wrong, isn't it?
It's wrong. It's just wrong. And so we're going to be taking a look at some of those wrong things right now when you change things like Superman. So what is one of your favorite iterations of Superman? Like, in terms of, because here's the thing. We could compare post-crisis, pre-crisis, rebirth, but there is some kind of collective uniformity to the suit. Blue, red, maybe a dash of yellow, boots. That's and cape. What version is your kind of like, what's your mind's eye Superman?
I mean, if I was just off the doming this one, and again, I imagine a lot of people are going to say this too, Superman the animated series. That's the one that comes to mind, because it's just slick and clean, isn't it?
It is. Oh my God. Well, first of all, you got Bruce Timm's iconic style. And what he does, he trims it down, he scales it back, and just gives you just the things you need to look at. It's almost minimalist in its depiction.
Yep.
But it nails it perfectly. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? So
cuts a hell of a silhouette, doesn't he? That's what I like about it. It's like, that's Superman just from silhouette. Chin like an anvil, little hair things, got it all.
Exactly. So I think for me, in terms, first of all, I loved the Superman animated series look. It's basically just like post-crisis Superman.
As we know him, it didn't really do much. We don't get the logo on the back. That's a whole thing there with the logo on the back, and I know that's a bone of contention.
That's almost its own conversation at this point,
really
where
is.
It's like, because I don't know if I recognized it immediately when Superman, like, that Superman had a logo on the cape. And when I did notice it, I honestly have a favorite. Like, I have a version that I like, and when I see it different or wrong, I have a problem with it. And this could just be my own weird hangups when it comes to superheroes and the design on the back, because I have the exact same issues when it comes to Spider-Man and his back spider.
Right.
Joel is nodding knowingly, because he knows I have a very strong opinion about the spider on the back.
Absolutely.
I like the little roundy fat spider with the little stumpy legs. You don't get it anywhere else. That's just what it is, you know? And when it comes to Superman's cape, there's no exception there. I prefer the yellow.
Yes.
Like the solid, it's black only in the like outline, but the yellow S insignia on the back of the cape. But I've seen, I think it was New 52. Who did it first? The black outline S on the back of the cape.
I'm
I feel like that might have been just. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, probably New 52, I think. Although it's been so long where he's been without it, I almost like don't miss it anymore because he hasn't had it for so long. I'm like, no, it's like, Batman with the purple gloves. He had it for a bit. It's part of his history, but he doesn't do that anymore.
Moonlighted with the purple. We don't need the purple. It's fun when it's there, but we don't need it to be a staple. When it comes to that kind of thing, I like this. Superman is almost a perfect design, and it's just streamlined. Yeah. And when you add that yellow S on the back, I love it, and I think it just adds that extra dash of yellow. I think it pairs it because you have to have the yellow behind the S, and you have the yellow belt, but it just adds something extra. But when you ditch it, I'm not heartbroken. I'm not angry. I'm not outraged. It's not one of those things where I'm like, this is just wrong.
You also got to wonder too, from like an artistic point of view, how many times do we see Superman only from the back? Usually if he's talking, he's looking right at us.
It's true.
It feels like such an interesting little thing. Like there's maybe only like 3 or 4 times where it's like, hey, and here's a good chance to see Superman from behind.
Right. And when you do, though, you're rewarded by getting a little extra something. You get, not just his super keister, but also you got that yellow treat. You get a little treat. You're like, he
has a symbol on the back.
Exactly. He's got branding. That's the thing.
It's like a bumper sticker. If you're flying behind Superman, you know who it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would never notice. But I will say that when it comes to consistency and like redundancy of branding, I have an issue with that. Like Brandon Routh's Superman suit, which is almost perfect.
Yeah.
But it has that redundant S where it's like you got the logo, then you got a little logo on the belt buckle. I'm like, what are you doing? You need to reinforce the S. We get it. You're Superman. But for some reason, no problem with the one on the back. I think the Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman logo it has a yellow S on the back.
Right. Yeah, you might be right.
I think
that's so long since I've seen that. I will take your word for it, sir.
Exactly. And there's no reason to watch it again. But
no.
So what many call the 1934 version is the Son of Krypton suit. That's the first. It's the original. And it's kind of amazing, remarkable even how it hasn't changed too much.
No.
When you look at it, it's almost over-designed. When you look at it in your mind's eye, when you compare it to the main Superman, which is, of course, like the S logo. That, I think, that's like the biggest change you can make to Superman.
Absolutely.
Changing the logo. Because
when they've toyed with it over the years.
Oh, and that's the thing. We will get into it. But that S logo, I don't know. For some reason, like I never really enjoyed it. This is the one where it was like, I don't know. It had like little swooshes on the inside.
Like a bell. Yeah.
Like a bell or something. I'm like, now, the other thing was I don't care for the kind of, it's more like a scripty S. I like when the S is incorporated into the actual like outline.
Right. When it sticks out a little bit more. That costume too, obviously, when we look at the historical context for it, Siegel and Schuster, I don't remember, I'm pretty sure it was Siegel, not Schuster, was a big fan of like, bodybuilding magazines and like circus strongmen and everything. So that informs the Superman costume in a big bad way.
Oh, and that design just sells it. Like, exactly. If you're familiar with the history, you see right away the strongman. And I think that S logo, the outline around it at least, is emblematic of that kind of iconography. So it's that's exactly what it's going for. Then they get to Action Comics #1. It's a triangle. Just, it's funny. They're like, they're probably in the same boat where they're like, let's streamline it. Let's keep it a little simple. How about, what's a perfect shape? The triangle. Just make a triangle.
We want to draw this every single time for the rest of our lives.
And that's the other thing is like ease of drawing. I remember as a kid picking up Superman comics and being enamored by the logo that would eventually be what I think people refer to as the Man of Tomorrow logo, which was incorporated in around 71. But the Man of Tomorrow logo, which has like the kind of like morphed, the S is literally incorporated into the outline. But every time I saw it as a kid, I'd think, God, they gotta draw that every time. They gotta draw that. Because I used to draw it as a kid. I'd be like, oh, how do you?
And we all.
It wasn't even a drawing. It wasn't even like you're doing lettering. You're drawing a picture, and then the picture just happens to be the letter of the alphabet. But I always felt bad for artists who had to draw that because it's just a complicated logo.
Very much so.
But also so beautifully simple, iconic. That's the thing. Is like people. It should be instantly and immediately recognizable, but also, it should have a little zhuzh to it.
And, would live on forever in merchandise. It's probably one of the most merchandisable symbols right next to like Coca-Cola and Mickey Mouse.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's one of those things where it's like, you think about how when you see a Superman logo available for sale or getting a T-shirt, you rarely see anything outside of the 1971 Man of Tomorrow, the one everyone knows.
It's so very true. And again, because I'm a mega nerd and I like to have a very deep collection. I got my Bizarro, I got my Kingdom, I got my old timey Fleischer cartoons.
Yes, you do
in there too, which they resurrected.
I have a few extras as well. A couple of actually representatives here as well. But so you go from Action Comics to Up, and Away. I believe that's probably that's like the one you'll see. I know that in Action Comics 1000, there's like this gorgeous depiction of Superman throughout that book. Actually, the number of amazing artists doing it, but there's a solid depiction of the Up, and Away. That's where they drop the yellow on behind the S, but they go black.
Yeah, this is also the Fleischer-esque one too. This is the one that would really inform that.
Exactly. And I think that that probably would be informing the Alex Ross design later, because you won't see black incorporated into that design again until 1997.
Yeah, not like the main universe. This is slick. When I think of like old-timey Golden Age Superman, I think of this like, we've gone back in time, or it's an alternate universe when you see that costume.
It's slick, it's sexy, it's iconic in its own right, but also distinctly different. It's not quite what you remember, and it's not quite as hokey. I should also point out that in addition to the S logo, we've also seen the metamorphosis of the boots. The boots get less complicated. The first iteration, Son of Krypton, boots have like weird slits in them.
Yeah, what's up with that?
And I don't know, but we ditched that hardcore immediately. Action Comics
that
#1
did not last.
Gone. Solid red. We get a deeper red with the Fleischer cartoons. They also match the yellow. That's the one thing that always irked me as a kid, but I get it now, which is they move the yellow from behind the S to the outline. They make it a little thin border of yellow, and then that's reflected in the buckle of the belt, but the belt itself is black. Neat idea.
Because we got to break it up, right? We got to break up these colors.
That's the thing. And that's the thing that like I always go back to whenever people talk about dropping the trunks. I'm like, no, you need some splash of color there. It's too much blue. Even Spider-Man, who has a belt under the suit, has some designation of a separation between the top and the bottom. You don't think of Spider-Man wearing pants.
No.
But you do have a designation of top and bottom.
This is where the pants zone is.
Exactly. Superman, same deal. You need to break that up. It's too much blue.
And this is a battle they will be fighting for many years to come. From the New 52 on, where it's like, how much yellow is too much yellow? Where do we put in the designator between top and bottom? It's a fight that they will continue to have.
Exactly. But 30 years later, you'll see a change, and that's the change that everyone remembers from 1971, Man of Tomorrow, and that's the one that I go for, where a couple of shifts, go back to a solid yellow belt, back to the yellow background, but a more designed S. That's like the more graphic heavy S, which is the one that they'll incorporate in almost every design from here, like from that day forward.
This is the one that lives in the collective subconscious. This is the Superman of all the merchandise and everything else you're going to see. That's the one.
Exactly. Like no matter what flashback you see, that's the suit. But I don't know. There's something about this suit that just that's Superman to me.
Yeah, and I think always will be. That's the one. Just like Batman with the blue will always be Batman to some people.
Yeah, as a kid, I was so enamored with the idea of like a darker Batman. And I think that's just because, you're a kid, you're thinking like, ooh, dark, cool, gritty. But like the older I get, the more I'm like, I kind of miss that blue. I kind of miss the everybody calls it the Neil Adams blue. I think of it as the Norm Brayfogle blue, where it's got the really dope design, but it's also still classic.
And coming back too in Detective Comics in those last couple of runs, showed it some love.
Well, that's because Dan Mora getting to draw the classic Neil Adams suit is just a stroke of genius. Of course, he also has to like add his own little spin on it by making it the 89 Batman logo crest. And it's like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. And that's one of those things where it's like, as an artist, you want to be able to make your viewer, even if you're showing a character that they know in their mind, they could draw from memory, they think, oh my God, that is the character, but I've never seen that before.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we stray from the Man of Tomorrow, we do get some new elements. Now, should we even talk about the 4 Supermen from the Death of Superman, Reign of Superman?
I mean, ever so briefly, because I think, they got to have a lot of fun with those characters where it's like, okay, this is Superman, this is broke, don't fix it. But, what if he had metal armor? And what if he was a robot? And what if he was a teen kid?
Right?
How do we play with it?
Yeah, a cyborg Superman is a great idea. And
it's just Terminator.
It's just the Man of Tomorrow suit, but Terminator.
And it works because it's something that is, so wholesome and so like the pinnacle of Americana. But what if we fuck it up a little bit? What if we make it cracked mirror and horrifying?
Yes. Make it a little scary. Make Superman a little scary. Dare to make Superman scary. It's a great idea.
And Cyborg Superman has not changed much in the last little bit. It's like, no, the first iteration was already perfect. Why are we going to fuck with it?
Seriously. No, it's right. But the Eradicator suit I've come around on.
Who's also been redesigned quite a bit too.
It's true. We don't have time to get into Eradicator Superman.
That's a whole other one.
But I do. That's one of those things that breaks the cardinal rule for me. Because the Eradicator suit is just a bodysuit.
Yep.
But it has this interesting like kind of delineation of like a black stripe or something. Like it's just it's I think it's black from the shoulders to the foot tips.
Yeah.
Incorporated into his arms and gloves. The strip is blue in the middle, no breakup, but you change so much of the suit while also keeping I don't know what it is about the design of that suit. I find it fascinating because they don't just change that, they change the crest, blow it up, make it a shield he wears over his shoulders, the cape's attached to it. I don't know. There's something about that. I'm like, it's kind of ballsy.
It plays with your mind is what it is. It's kind of like how Freddy Krueger's sweater is like 2 colors that don't go together, and it like puts you
the only immediately you see brown and orange / red. You're like Freddy.
Yeah, and it like makes you feel uncomfortable. That's how I've always felt about the Eradicator. It's like, oh, this is familiar, but there's something wrong about it. There's uncanny valley to this. And also, hey, as a wrestling fan, I got to present the Bret Hart shades, man. Superman never wears glasses, but the Eradicator does.
Right? Yeah, well, because he's never not Superman or not Eradicator. So like he's got to incorporate those shades. Back in the day, I know that Wizard Magazine used to call them the Roy Orbison shades.
Oh,
Roy
that
Orbison Superman.
He also wore them as well. It also adds to the inhumanity of the character too. Eyes are the windows to the soul. I have no soul.
See him. I have no soul.
Can't see my eyes. Yeah.
Exactly. So getting into the Elseworlds territory, because the reality is like that's where you're going to see the most derivations, because from Man of Tomorrow up until the Reign of Superman, you don't see any changes except for, and we know that Zack Snyder's a big fan of this, the Rebirth suit, not the Rebirth, capital R Rebirth suit, Superman's Rebirth, his resurrection suit.
Also known as the Black Mullet suit.
Which is, I got to tell you, I love the black costume on Spider-Man. It's just a silhouette with a logo on it. Like, stem to stern, it's not a terribly exciting design when you put it on paper. When you write it down, when you say, oh, I'm going to read it on Spider-Man. Oh, what are you going to do with him? We're not going to draw him, but we are going to put a logo on his chest and the back. And even then I have not issues, but I have issues when they stray from that iconic design. Because for some reason with Spider-Man, it works so well.
It's so slick. It's so clean.
So slick. And maybe because Spider-Man blends into the shadows. He's creepy and crawly. Like there's something about that works for the character. Superman in black, antithetical to the character.
Which is very much what they wanted to do here. It's the 90s. It's not your grandpappy Superman anymore. He's got a mullet.
Well, and the suit, people think that it's like a thing. That Snyder was like, I didn't read the Resurrection of Superman. So I just saw the design.
I like the picture.
I like the picture. He only wears it for like 2 issues because he has to wear it while he's being resurrected. It's not like a suit.
It's a medical device.
It's a medical device. He's wearing a hospital gown. It's just a Kryptonian hospital gown. But it's just a black silhouette, Superman crest, or again, classic Man of Tomorrow crest, but gray, slate gray, with matching gauntlets or bracers, like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, very much. I never thought of that. Yeah, this is one of the only suits where they really accentuate the wrist part of him.
Yeah,
you never think about Superman's wrists all that much, do you?
Not really, and they don't come into play. I should also point out, he doesn't have any powers in that suit, Like,
yeah, he had a gun and like an ammo pouch on his leg. Like the picture we're looking at does not do the costume service because like it's actually quite over designed when he comes out because he's got like a bunch of pouches and a big cable gun and shit because it's the 90s now.
he also steals some like propellant boots from a Lex support
thing,
stormtrooper, so he can fly. But yeah, it's capeless. It's also the first time we see Superman with no cape. So it's interesting because it is a perfect. It's like when we get to the Electric Blue Superman, where when you show like Superman, kind of like taking measure of his life, and you see like all the Supermen lined up, and you watch like this kind of color grade where the blue goes from like light blue to darker blue, but also then just right in the center, there's this Electric Blue Superman, and people go, what? And it's a not to skip ahead, but it's such a terrible idea. And it's a terrible design. I mean, it's a great design, but it's terrible for Superman.
Absolutely. Like if this was an original character, I'd be like, yo, Electric Blue Man is pretty cool.
Right. But I'll say this for them. It stands out, and it's memorable, and it will never be forgotten.
It isn't. And like, even if people are bringing it back, ironically, writers love to do something with electric red and blue Superman. When we see Superman's closet, you better bet someone is putting a red and blue suit in there.
Yeah, especially as the people who were children who read that book are comic book writing age.
Yes.
You'll see more references to that than ever before.
God willing, when they do another Superman video game, that's going to be an alternate skin.
Seriously. Now, I mean, like, the fact is, I remember like Activision Spider-Man, one of the main tentpoles of that game was getting costumes. And that's a 21-year-old game.
Yep.
It's never been out of style for a video game for a superhero to be about getting all them costumes. And like,
especially a guy who's been around for 80 plus years.
There's enough. Trust me, based on this episode, there's enough suits you can get in here. So then Superman returns after the black suit, which again, I think is like, it's fine. It's fun. It's eye-catching. It's surprising, but it doesn't wear out its welcome. And I think that's part of the reason why people like it and remember it, because it's just kind of like, there's only a few images of it. There's when he shows up, there's when he suits up with his guns, and there's when he loses it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think there might be actually some kind of deliberate effort in there for when he does lose the suit. He takes a like point blank attack to the chest. The S is burned away. It's like, no, this suit is not Superman. The logo's not there.
Right.
Anyway, so then we go to Return, which is just Man of Tomorrow, but with a mullet.
Yep. Because again, this is the era we're in now, and he will rock that throughout the Morrison years of Justice League. That'll just be Superman for a bit.
Let me ask you this. What do you think of the mullet now?
I mean,
20 years removed.
Now it's nostalgic. I hated it when it was new because it's like, oh, come on, seriously. But now it's nostalgic, and it reminds me of the 90s reading comics, and it reminds me of all these stories I like. And again, it kind of chops up that idea too, where it's like, Superman, he's this hero, he's this aspirational figure. He's also like your dad. And when you go through those comics, it's like, oh my God, my dad had a terrible haircut once upon a time.
Yeah. With Superman, though, it's like he had a terrible haircut during a time when he absolutely should not have been going through that kind of phase.
Absolutely. It's funny too. Batman never had that. Batman never had a terrible haircut phase. Bruce Wayne has rocked one haircut his entire 80 plus history.
Now that's a haircut you can set your watch to.
Absolutely.
Even Peter Parker had a mullet for a time. Like everybody had a mullet. I had a mullet.
It was the style at the time. See, I can't let my hair grow too long, or else my, white trash DNA will make it become a mullet.
Yeah, no, my hair goes up, and when it goes high enough, it eventually falls back.
Business in front, party in back.
There was no party going on, let me tell you. So after that, then we get into Elseworlds territory. We get Superman speeding bullets from JMT Mateus, which is just Batman, but it's kind of a dope ass Batman suit.
It's not bad at all.
It's a deformation of the outline of the S, but with a bat that fits the entire thing. Pretty cool idea. Full mouth covering. I think it's around Azrael.
Yes, that was kind of the style at the time too, wasn't it? Kind of coming back with Miles Morales Spider-Man. Mouth coverings are in again.
So I kind of like this idea, but it's one of the first times we see like Batman full cowl, full face covering. But again, it's a couple of little designs. It's just a bat suit. There's nothing really to write home about it outside of the you could put it in an Arkham game, you could put it in a Superman game, and you'd save yourself some time. You'd save your programmers some effort. Then we
the
get
face covering for Superman is weird too, because so much of his thing is being open and welcoming to the world. So when he starts obscuring his face, that again is a pretty good indication that you're in an Elseworld or someone else. Because why should Superman ever have to hide?
Well, and of course that's thematic in that book. He is hiding, so he is going to cover his entire face. And I don't want to spoil a 30-year-old book, but let's just say he learns a lesson, and when he does, he rips off the costume, like he loses the mask. There's a book that I loathe called Superman at Earth's End, which is one of the worst Elseworlds book ever. It is clearly a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but nevertheless,
it's also probably the memeiest Superman story. The internet has really latched on to that one in a big bad way.
But it's just Santa Claus in a Superman shirt. But it is the first time you'll see, it's not the last time you'll see Superman just wearing a t-shirt with his logo on it.
Yeah. It's funny how that would come back in vogue in a big way in the DCU.
Yeah. But it's basically just a bodysuit with no sleeves just to show off his rippling biceps.
That is weird.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, but he does break it up. Even at Earth's End, Superman knows to break up the suit with a belt. The belt is brown. The gloves are brown. Theming.
You got to be, fashion forward even in the apocalypse.
Then we get to 1996-97 where we get Kingdom Come. And Kingdom Come, for my money, might be one of the most toe-to-toe iconic depictions of Superman's costume.
It really is.
Man of Tomorrow, right?
It's easily one of the best Elseworld suits. It's so simple, and yet it changes so much. And it's very thematic to the story. Superman's a little older now. He's got the salt and pepper in the hair. The symbol has changed because we live in a different time. The black has returned to it. Where
black has returned. Went from being, and what's great is knowing about the up and away 1940s period. You're kind of like, oh, he's actually bringing it back. Like he's almost nostalgic, but it's also, of course, it represents how he feels about the world and stuff. So
remember when I was younger and things were simpler.
Oh, and now we live in a crazy world where we saw it in live action and it's dope. It's fire. Despite the fact that it's on television, one of the
highest moments for the CW universe. I take a lot of shit for liking those shows and sticking up for them, but that one of the best moments in their big crisis, and that Brandon Routh got to come back and wear it, got his big redemption. So cool. So
right.
And they still have that costume sitting around somewhere at the CW. I'm hoping at some point, what is it, Tyler Hoachland there, that he'll get to wear it in an episode.
I gotta tell you, man, like he's one of my favorite Supermen of all time. And Warner Brothers loves to dust off those old suits.
They sure do.
I think that more recently people have talked about how Christian Bale did his audition
screen test,
his screen test in the Batman Forever Val Kilmer suit. Like they're quick, and we've been to like places where DC has been like, we're doing a big thing. Bring all the suits. Get all the suits out. and those are in a handy place at Warner Brothers. So I would love to see that suit come back, and I'm sure they'll be happy to bring it back.
What a great job that must be to be the Warner Brothers prop guy and to get to keep all of those under glass and everything.
Oh my God. Yeah. There is a really cool 1996 Elseworlds book called Superman's Metropolis. It's basically like a Fritz Lang take on Superman.
I don't even remember this one.
We have a copy of it, but I've never looked at it. But it's a neat suit. It also does not scream Superman to me, but it's like, it's got this duality angle where it's like split down the center. You got the S that's all crammed on one side. Really,
it's real sci-fi serial,
Yeah. He almost looks like a pirate. Got a big belt. He's got the Buccaneer boots, which is one thing that I never thought I'd want on a Superman.
Very Captain America.
But it's one of those things. I don't know why. I love the Buccaneer boots.
They look good in this one.
Hawkeye, Captain America look good with Superman. Hey, maybe bring back the Buccaneer boots. Maybe it's time. Or incorporate them into a new design. I'd take that.
Yeah.
We get to Superman Blue. Superman Blue, of course.
As we said.
It was a big deal when it came out. Of course, because like every suit up until 1996 is a derivation of the original design.
Yep. This is the first time they're like, throw it all out, change everything. We're starting from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked about how it would work better on another superhero, but
if it belonged to anyone else with any other name, I'd be like, hey, that's all right.
Right. But I also wonder, like, well, number one, we know it would never exist. because no one would make that suit for anybody else.
No, of course not.
But also, I don't know, would it?
We also agree that Superman Blue looks better than Superman Red, ironically.
Oh, well, because Superman Red is just like that's just a throwback to a 60s story, I believe.
Yes, it
and
is.
It wouldn't. The red wouldn't have come without the blue. It doesn't work. It's too much red. His face is, it's 1-to-1. Like they're both blue and red faced, but it's just for some reason
the blue looks nicer.
And you know what it could be? It is two of the main primary colors for Superman. And it could be because I don't know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because like the red cape is full bodied.
Yes.
That's all red, but his body suit is typically blue.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm used to Superman having a blue body suit. But
is that just our brain tricking us into thinking it's better? Because it's like, well, that's just Superman without the cape. The cape on its own is nothing. The cape is just a red blanket.
Yeah, I don't know.
and they kind of dusted off that color theory. What is it in the New 52 leading into the DCU when they fused their Supermans again? So we kind of had a bit of a callback to Superman Red and Blue because maybe New 52 Superman actually was Superman Red all the time.
I love that idea because I'm a continuity junkie, but but I'm also like, don't muck with Superman. Like, that old saying, like, you don't tug on Superman's cape.
Don't spit into the wind and you don't mess around with Jim.
Don't mess around with Jim. Exactly. I don't know. I do have a shirt with this logo on it.
I have seen that shirt. It's very cool.
It is cool, but it
makes for a good shirt.
It's mostly just like ironic and silly.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I don't like the period. Every time he does show up, I'm like, get out of here.
I was so close to wearing my Bizarro shirt for this, actually, because again, that's a whole other suit. It's just the Superman colors, but inversed, a little bit more purple, and the S is backwards.
Yeah. No, I have another version of Superman with that logo. I was going to wear a different Superman logo shirt today, and again, I just didn't get a chance. By that point, they're like, screw it. Okay, Elseworlds. There's another version, A Nation Divided. That one's from an Elseworld story from where he joins the Union Army because Atticus Kent was born during the Civil War. So it's Civil War Superman. Suit's pretty fun. Nothing really much to say outside because it's just whatever. It's the Superman costume, but like incorporating some Civil War elements. Not terribly exciting. There's another one that I've never read, which I really wish I had now, called Superman Distant Fires. Again, another Elseworld story. Basically, Superman survives the nuclear holocaust, and he has this like crazy ass suit on. It's again, but another derivation. Superman the Dark Side is Superman under the tutelage of Darkseid. This one is the most like Naziist Superman. You get this, I think,
but not the last.
No, but you'll see. I think this is like the impetus behind the Superman animated series.
Yes, suit.
Yeah,
the suit. Near the end. Yeah, when he takes control of his mind and everything. And yeah.
It's practically the Batman Hellbat armor.
Oh my God, it is decades earlier. Holy shit!
But in 1998, skipping past a couple that are just like obviously other things, there is one called Son of Superman, which is the inspiration for what would become the Justice Lord's Superman costume. And this is one of those things. Ooh, I like that suit. I like that black and white. I don't know what it is, but
he's a bad man, but I like that suit. The Justice Lord's one would do it the other way. It would be white over black instead of black over white.
Works either way. Not gonna complain.
Pretty solid. It looks
pretty
nice.
Solid. Looks slick. I like it a lot. But yeah, it also does this fun thing. Like, the cape is tucked into the shoulders. We got the pepper in the hair. There's also that gorgeous imagery. And I have a Superman shirt like it, where it's just a black shirt with the white S, which is kind of a callback to the Superman movie, the Dick Donner movie.
Yeah.
Where Jor-El, like the House of El, is just wearing this black against white. And it's just,
I didn't think about that. Good call.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I don't know.
It's nice. Again, I always feel like from a character design point of view, when you're making a new superhero, it's like, no, it just can't be black and white. You need to put more colors in there. But it looks so good, though. The Moon Knight effect. He looks so good, though.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what. Yeah, maybe we'll call it the Moon Knight Superman from now on.
I like that.
There's another Elseworld story from 2000s. Basically, it's called Superman Last Stand on Krypton.
Right.
It's an interesting idea. It's just it's more Romanesque.
Yeah, I see it.
But the one that everybody is champing at the bit for, of course, is 2003's Superman Last Son.
Yeah.
It's one of, I love it, and yet, like, I've seen the shirt available from, like, I think Graffiti makes it, but where it's just the hammer and the sickle in the shirt. Great idea. Like, it's a brilliant idea, an execution. I never want to wear it. I always, whenever I see it, like, and it's because of the gray against the red. It doesn't quite wear. It's not dark enough.
No, but it's also like one of those things where it's like, hey, it's Superman, it's recognizable. Hey, but there's something not quite right about that with the gray, which I guess is very, again, speaks to the story. It's like, yes, Soviet utilitarianism there. We have no need for blue here. Gray will be just fine.
Exactly.
It will show no stains.
No, and it'll get more gray when it becomes President Superman or lighter gray. But then we get into another one that I'm just going to throw out there because it's funny. Superman True Brit from like John Cleese and company.
Yeah, wow, I don't even remember this one. Holy shit.
Oh, it's True Brit is not great. This, I believe, is done by John Byrne, by the way.
Oh.
It's just the Union Jack behind the Superman logo. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is for Britain what Red Sun is for Superman. It's like, hey, what if he went somewhere else? What if, he incorporated that into his thing instead of the red, white, and blue? What if he incorporated another country's iconography?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed because, like, whenever I use an example for Elseworlds, I'm like, what if Superman landed in 1930s Gotham? What if he landed in Soviet Russia? What if he landed in England? Like, there aren't a dozen examples of that. I mean, we do see like Superman into the jungle where it's just Tarzan Superman, but he writes an S on his chest. Whatever.
There aren't a lot of those. No, there is. Did you watch Superman and Lois, by the way, that new CW show?
I've seen it. I don't watch more. I've only seen the pilot.
It's pretty good.
I hear it's great. Like,
it is. Ironically, the villain of that show, we find out, is a Kryptonian who landed in Britain.
Oh my God.
Yes, I know.
What a nuts idea.
Yeah, where he was like hunted for his powers and everything and didn't get to live, like the warm American kind of experience in small town. I'm like, wow, what an indictment of Britain, everyone. If a Kryptonian landed there, he'd be a giant asshole.
Right? Like, what? Who, where are you from? Creator of the show, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, really. I just thought that was so funny that's their big thing. Hey, what if a Kryptonian landed in Britain? I think it's because the actor was already British and they're like, crap, we got to explain why he speaks with an accent.
Just say he's from anywhere. That's what we do. He's from space. Space people sound like they're from England.
I'm from Spice, Australia. Go Spice Broncos.
Oh no. You make Lobo sound Australian. That way you keep it consistent, The World of New Krypton, that one, of course, like that's more of his like jackbooted, I'm working for Zod kind of situation.
Very military-esque, yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. It's not Superman.
It looks like a better Zod suit.
Yeah, it's Superman in disguise. Young Justice cartoon depicts Superman as we would expect. It's just Superman.
It's an update of the old cartoon. Pretty good.
Yep. Then Grant Morrison gets their hands on Clark during the New 52.
Switches it all up.
We get young Clark, young Superman. Yeah. Superman t-shirt. Where's the logo come from? Who cares? He's buying them off the rack.
It's an interesting premise for sure, taking it all back, doing a different take on it. Also trying to harken back to the original roots of Superman, where it's like, no, in his first issue, he was like a socialist hero. He like stopped a wife beater and like took on an evil CEO and everything. Let's try and go back to that.
I admire their approach. I never got into it really. Like I read the first 7 issues and I was like, I think I'm done.
Yeah, neither did I, but again, wasn't Morrison's fault. That was totally a New 52 publishing issue. It's like, but what's the real Superman?
Oh my God!
Because there's a Superman here and a Superman over here and a Superman, and just like they don't feel like the same guy. Are you guys even talking to each other? Which, as we found out later, no, actually, no, we weren't. We were all just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what would stick.
Yep. Oh my God, that not expose, but like that oral history on Polygon. It was just like, we didn't have any plan. I'm like, no kidding.
confirming everything we ever knew. What I love about that one is that we get to hear from Judd Winnick and that one. I'm like, oh yeah, Judd Winnick was a major architect with this and batted cleanup on all the books no one wants to. And then he left DC and comics in general and hasn't written a superhero comic in God, I don't even know how long.
Yeah, that'll break you.
It did. My favorite Green Arrow writer just freaking tapped out. I'm done.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Flashpoint. It's a fun idea. That's the closest thing to an Elseworlds book we've gotten in forever. Which is just Flashpoint 2011. It's just him in a. Yeah, it's fine.
What if he was sickly? What if he didn't really have, any of the good branding?
Yeah. The New 52 suit. A lot of opinions. What are yours?
A lot of armor, a lot of neck stuff. I missed the trunks. I don't know if I can say anything that anyone hasn't been said. All right. He looks too boyish.
Yeah, they really pushed the whole he's young, and it's that's one of those things. I remember them saying. I think even it might have been in the Polygon article, but I remember them saying very recently, up until recently, where they were like, "Well, no matter what we do, we can undo the marriage." And I'm like, is that really the problem?
Apparently, yes. We want Superman to date Wonder Woman for a bit.
People aren't buying the book. It ain't because he's not dating. It's because you have perpetuated the myth that he's boring.
Yeah. And it wasn't uniquely Superman's problem either. Everyone had the Jim Lee collars and the armors and just this whole thing where it's that was an idea you had with
all the superheroes this is the look. It's and I get the idea because of course Superman inspires the rest, right? Boots, underwear on the outside, belt for no reason because it's not like those pants would fall down without it.
No,
a cape. This is the design. And everyone else kind of went for it. Some of them are like, well, I'm in space. I don't need a cape. Okay, fine. You can ditch the cape. You got to keep everything else. Gloves too. This New 52 initiative. They're like, everyone comes up with the same idea. Or it's like Starfleet. And they're like, okay, here are the new designs.
Everyone's too uniform.
Yeah, everyone, it's too uniform. And it's
robbed everyone of their individuality for a couple of years, didn't it?
You know what that is? I think that probably derives from the fact that the Justice League was originally assembled. DC itself is an assemblage of characters who are all created by some other people from their own universes that through the corporate purchasing of them become a team. So they all look different, but they are all still derived from the same source material.
Yep.
New 52 is we have a Justice League first. So we all look from this, but they're in their basic DNA. They're not.
That's what makes you cool. You're people from all over the place who come together to fight for the greater good.
Everyone's favorite era of X-Men is when they weren't wearing uniforms.
Yeah, is when they all brought their own shit and their own flavor to it.
That's the case. So with the New 52, it's just the uniformity of the we got piping, we got neck, we got popped collars.
Oh yes,
we got streamlined, no underwear. If there's any logos, it's just one, maybe another one on the belt buckle because for some reason we love that. That's it.
And they'd eventually changed up. They do away with New 52 Superman, replace him with old Superman from Convergence, who wore a suit that was a lot closer to his original.
The resurrection suit.
Yeah. He wore the black one for a bit. Then he got a bluer one. Still no undies on the outside, but he had I guess you'd call them super heroic chaps, where it's they're the same color, but he's wearing something there. And I'm like, okay, I guess I still will have to wait a couple of years before you finally break down and give me trunks again. But thank you for trying to give me something. And him and Batman wore the same thing. It's like, hey, you gotta go check out my new chap guy.
Right. Yeah. No, they both did. And then what's great is when they both it's like they both went, I gotta tell you, Clark, I miss the undies. Yeah, oh my God, Bruce, thank you. Let's both put them on at the same time.
It was literally just a couple months apart, like in Tom King's thing. It was like, oh, my marriage with Catwoman fell apart. I feel sad now. Yeah, bring me my undies, Alfred. And Superman's like, well, he's not going to freaking beat me to this. Bring me my undies.
Yeah. Okay, Bruce bit the bullet first. Fine. Underwear. And it's
okay for me.
It's okay with me. But the Rebirth suit was... I think that, when before the earth is dust and we return to the loam, there'll be two camps, Man of Tomorrow and Rebirth. Those are the two suits people are going to be aligned with, where it's no undies, but there's an implied coloration that kind of tries to do the separation. Even the boots were weird because they were blue, but had outlines that delineated what the boots were.
Yes, I forgot about the boots. You're right. Which again, I didn't hate that suit. There was a lot of really good stories written in that era.
Yes.
I warmed up to it, but I will always be at the end of the day a purist. And it's like, no, Superman, that is how he was created. That is his thing. That is the image that lives in my mind palace forever. That's what he looks like.
Exactly. I should point out really quick before we move on, or at least until we head towards their inevitable climax. The crew here at Home Comic Con are going to be giving away Elseworlds comics, and if you would like to win one, you should consider donating to this lovely charity that we are here to sponsor and support. It's going to a good cause, so you're basically buying a comic. It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
But so the Rebirth Suit, again, it's one of those things. For me, it's like they got the character right.
Yeah.
So I didn't necessarily care. I was like, let me pick my battles at this point. Like,
it's true. I can complain about the costume more if I wasn't liking the writing and the stories, but that's good. So I'm nicer to the costume.
Right. I'm like, you know what? No, I don't like those boots, but no, I'm going to say that 5 years removed.
It's the Agent Grayson thing all over again. It's like, well, but you guys are doing a good job, so I'm not going to complain that he doesn't have a costume anymore.
Exactly. Then, of course, like we saw, it's funny they attributed to 2012, but the reality is this suit debuted during Batman Beyond, the cartoon show.
Yes.
Superman Beyond, which is basically this like interesting hodgepodge of the black suit that like two people like. The Son of Superman 1999 Justice Lords cartoon suit. It's this crazy kind of amalgam. I get it. It has all the things I like. It plays with, it's like almost like the Darkseid suit with the logo meets the Kingdom Come logo. I don't know. What do you think about this suit?
It's certainly not my favorite of all of them, but I eventually grew to like it. We rarely see that Superman as much of anything.
No,
I think we saw him more in the Batman Beyond Justice League Beyond 2.0 series by Kyle Higgins and Christopher Yost.
Yes.
That was good. That one I liked, where it's like Superman's a firefighter and everything, and he's older now and he's living a new life. I like it better in the comic than I do in the cartoon, if that makes any sense.
That's fair. No, I it does make sense because, of course, it's also about context, because in the cartoon, he's wearing that suit, but it's not really Superman. He's
find out later. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to. I spoiled the episode, but like, it's kind of fun. Like, it doesn't change anything. I will point out a couple of things about that episode, just because I'm a nerd and because we're stalling for time. But in that episode, first of all, we get that suit, which is kind of neat. That's the shirt I have one of the other logos for it. I'm like, I don't know. Nice shirt. Somebody made it. I'm like, okay. It's not my favorite, but I'll wear it just as a kind of like, yeah, I have a neat Superman shirt. But he's voiced by, I never remember the actor's name, but Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yes.
Who played
who has passed away now, unfortunately.
Did he really?
Yes, he passed away because I watched Hacks. He plays a casino owner in that, and the last episode is dedicated to him.
No way.
Yes, just this year.
That is a shame. Christopher McDonald.
He's so good in Hacks. Yeah, and he's very good in that too. And yeah, you're absolutely right. They got the guy who voiced his father to voice older Superman.
Exactly. Great idea. Then, while he is under Starro's influence and he's chasing after Batman, they play the Superman theme from the animated series, but one note off.
Very nice touch. And he flies ramrod stiff, like upright, which is very inhuman and very cool.
Totally. I love it. Yeah, well, like he's being piloted.
I love the joke in that episode, too. How you been keeping up, Bruce, with a cane?
With a cane. I could use some of that Kryptonian DNA.
Love that.
That's one of the most Frank Miller lines in that show.
I'm old and I'm angry that you will like be eternal and outlive us all.
Yeah. You're starting to show your age. I'm wearing a diaper.
Yeah, really, at this point. And even when you do get too old, you'll just go to the sun and fix it.
And undo it. And then there's the Man of Steel suit.
Yeah.
And we didn't really talk about the movie suits.
No.
But I will say, they've tried movie and TV, like Superboy got the closest to the comic books, but the Superboy show, I I'm talking about the one from the 80s, 90s.
I take a firm stand against scale mail. Only Aquaman should have the scale mail. Why is this a weird thing for every superhero now?
The thing is, because what you're describing is the phenomenon you've seen pretty much since like Spider-Man, where it's like every suit has like this kind of texture to it, and it's about lighting, and it's about like realistic. It's about making it look real. You'll notice that like CG Spider-Man in the MCU like doesn't look real, and it's like because they don't have that scale. Like there's the patchwork. If you look closely, all of them have like this little crosshatch little like design, but the Spider-Man one, it's a little too smooth. It's too accurate, and it looks unreal. Chris Reeve's Superman suit is just cloth.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, as it should be for Superman, like in comics.
Because I am bulletproof. I can wear cloth. It's fine.
Which is one of my major complaints with the New 52, where it's like, I'm wearing armor. Why?
Most of you don't need. That's also why I don't like when they change Shazam's costume. Like, no, you had it perfect the first time. And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't look like a little kid's costume anymore. Billy Batson is a little kid, though.
But he is a little kid.
And that's his idea of what being a cool superhero would be. It would be wearing a costume. It's wrong to change it.
Right? But yeah, in terms of movies, I'm not against the Man of Steel suit. I get it. And
it makes sense in the universe they have created.
I feel like in another movie or with a different tone, I would like it more. And it's all about character and depiction.
Apparently, it looks nicer in person. I've talked to people who have like stood by. They're like, no, it's actually brighter and nicer looking in person. The lighting in the movie does it no favors.
No, it has to be, right? Because it's like you when you turn the contrast down, it would just be black.
Yeah.
For that matter, there's also a black Man of Steel suit from Justice League, the Snyder Cut.
They tried very hard to get there, and they finally got what they wanted: Superman in black.
And it's just that suit, but black. It's like the Spider-Man 3 black costume, and it's like it drives me nuts whenever they do that. When they're like, "There's this suit everyone likes. We're just going to do the same suit, but it's black," and it's like. It doesn't. Spider-Man suit doesn't work in black with the webbing. Like you can't see the webbing. It looks weird with Superman suit. Like you can't just do the Man of Steel suit but black. It just looks like you miscolored it. But it's. I'm going to give it a pass only in as much as like it could be worse.
Yeah.
The Lois and Clark suit I liked a lot when I was a kid. I see it. A lot of contrast in that blue. Really too blue. Chris Reeve's suit, obviously, it's solid. Seen it in person. Flawless.
Set the tone for many live action superhero costumes to come. The fact that they did so good on what was arguably the first big try for a big budget movie is really goddamn impressive.
Very true.
Very true. They wouldn't even really get Batman right the first couple times. They had to take a couple swings at Batman before they really figured it out.
I hear you. I do love the 89 suit, but it's just black.
Yes.
With like weird designs in it for no reason and Nikes. Like fine. But you're seeing Batman and he blends in. It's pretty cool. Plus, I love the brightness of the yellow. It makes everything else pop.
It pops.
It does pop. I will also throw out this suit, which was during the New 52. It's not in the chart we were using, but it's the Superman Unchained Guyver armor. I have a McFarlane figure of.
That's a really cool figure.
It is a really cool figure and an absolutely atrocious Superman costume.
Hey, it can be both.
And it is both. Like he has wings for some reason that imply the cape.
He's Gundam helmet.
Gundam helmet. Like, and I know that moment was supposed to be super cool in the comic, and it's just like weird.
He's highly toyetic.
Yeah. And like, listen, Jim Lee drew it. He designed the New 52 suits. So if he's going to make another Superman costume, it's going to be over-designed. He also incorporates the version that everybody likes, which is the black background S. But predictions for the future. Where do you think Superman's costume is going to go from here?
Well, I was going to say we're not quite done yet because there's actually two more. We got the Superman in the Authority costume, which is brand new, and the John Superman costume.
Oh, right, you're right. The John suit. I have no significant complaints about it. I get it. It's his.
Yes, that's what I like. They just didn't throw him in his dad's suit. It's like, no, it's his costume. He's going to make some choices. He's a young man. He's got some ideas. The belt is different. The cape is kind of different. It's, the whole layout of the bodysuit is different. And what I dig about is that because he's John and because he's doing his own thing, they can reinvent the wheel and it's okay. And if people don't like it, and if he changed it, it's like, he just went through a phase.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like it should be kind of like Miles, where it's like Miles Morales is his own Spider-Man. He does what he wants. But when they changed it, I was like, oh no. But yeah, John's does another fun thing where it incorporates a lot of elements from different suits.
Absolutely.
You get the shield attached to the cape, like Eradicator. You get the full body blue suit with the red/yellow belt, which is
what he had in Future State. So they were even reinventing it while that was going on.
Oh, absolutely. But that's basically an incorporation of the Rebirth belt.
Yep.
And the like full, basically solid. He basically is wearing a full body onesie. He's also got that like interesting Rebirth thing, and I assume it's because if you're doing like any kind of throwback, John remembers his dad wearing the Rebirth suit the most. And the Rebirth suit had that like weird thing where it was like more shirt cuffs.
Yeah. On the wrist. As we just said, we don't think about Superman's wrist all that much, but you're right. It's like he is wearing a shirt. He is wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah. And John's is like, and I think this is just because it's like younger, it's like Gen Z-ish to have like, I'm surprised that it doesn't go up over the thumb.
Likewise, yes. Which, wait, was the Future State like that, or am I just like imagining things?
Well, his suit goes up over like the top of his hand, but it doesn't go over the thumb. So it could be just like it's tricking your eye. But anyway, it looks good. If we're going back to John, I should also mention that he has a great Superman suit in Deceased.
That's right. He does.
I think I like that one more, but it could be because I saw that one first.
That one's pretty solid. Again, gotta hand it to Taylor, man. He's had two great Superman suits in his run.
Yeah. The Superman in the Authority suit is funny and interesting because
it really is.
Because it's basically just Grant Morrison's Action Comics suit.
It really
but for
is.
An adult. It's like their Superman grew up.
It's a little Kingdom Come-y. It's a little everything. He's got the salt because he's older now. He's dropped the cape. Again, he's showing the forearms now, which is an interesting thing for Superman.
Right. But I do agree with it because it just showcases like I don't need a suit. Like I'm the armor. You look at how strong I am.
It is very cool and striking. Like if I was passing that in a comic shop and knew nothing about it, I'd be like, yo, look what Superman is wearing.
I would like to see this actually cosplayed. Like I'd like to see like a buff.
Oh, it's very cosplayable.
The belt is another one of those, like it's basically a New 52 belt.
It looks a little Tom Strong too in its own way, doesn't it?
Big time. Yeah, in a big bad way. The incorporation of the Kingdom Come logo is actually prophetic because I, as like recently as like post Rebirth, I was like, one day I just thought to myself, one day they're going to make the Kingdom Come logo the default,
the
Superman
main,
logo. Like Superman's going to one day just wear the Kingdom Come logo, and here it is. Kind of Grant Morrison beat them to the punch.
Was clearly ahead of you on that. Was like, I got the idea for this. It's such a cool symbol.
I mean, it is, but it makes me wonder, like, why did they do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do they pick the Kingdom Come logo? Like, what does it mean?
It's because he's older. But then again, that book is also weird too, because we also get a flashback to classic suited Superman talking to Kennedy. And we're still not sure how that fits in with the rest of the story yet.
I'm enjoying it because I'm basically like, it's out of continuity. It's just, it's not in continuity.
You have not seen the solicitations for Action Comics, have you?
No. But I'm not reading Action Comics.
It's Superman now, but standing with his authority team.
Okay. But that's different. That's not this Superman.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to read it.
He's not wearing the suit.
Not yet, anyway. We're not sure.
That's true. They also incorporated a little bit of Eradicator from Return of Superman because you got like the darker blue on the outside.
Yeah.
But it's like got these accents. I'm not sure if I love it. It's more like it's just a bunch of different Superman suits at the same time.
It does have a certain je ne sais quoi to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that could very well have everything to do with Mikkel Yanin. You know, as opposed
very
to
pretty pictures in that book.
Who just draws really pretty pictures, and it could just be that. because I'm not wild about it, but I also don't hate it.
I'd also argue too that's not even my favorite design from that series. What they've done with OMAC that's the best OMAC has ever looked.
Oh sure, yeah. No, I mean everyone else in the book is great, Superman notwithstanding. But it's interesting. It's just an interesting design and an interesting approach, and time will tell on what that means.
I will buy that action figure when that is inevitably up for sale.
Sure, totally. I would like an action figure of all these suits. I would love to see like all these Supermen just standing in a line. But yeah, so we're getting to the point where I think there's going to be a decided winner. So
nice.
The giveaway is happening shortly, but yeah, honorable mentions. Any other Superman like kind of iterations that either broke with tradition and you loved it or hated it?
So here's a particularly weird one, and I knew I wanted to bring this up. So here in Canada, we have a thing called a Canadian Heritage Moment, which would play on television all the time. It's like little short movies basically about like moments in Canadian history. Like here's when we invented basketball, and here's when we created Montreal Islands. They have one on Superman.
Oh,
and it's Schuster there, who's leaving on the train to be like, I'm going to America to be a big time comic man. And he talks to the real Lois, the woman who is it based on. And it's like, hey, before I go, I want to give you this. It's going to be a big deal. And he sketches Superman for the first time and gives it to her and says, hey, keep this. It's going to be a big deal one day. That sketch is one of my favorites. And you see it every so often. You can tell an artist is Canadian when they put that in and say, oh, but here's the sketch from that little short movie. That one always has a warm place in my heart. Where I'm like, oh, yeah, because Superman is half Canadian, everyone.
By the way, to that point, where is the true Brit or Red Sun Canadian version of Superman?
Oh, yeah. How does that never happen?
With the S in it.
The highest artistic prize in Canada for comics is called the Schuster Prize. How is that not a thing?
Seriously, I guarantee you, some intrepid graphic designer has done the Canadian leaf with the S in it. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a comic where they did that. Come on. I should say there actually is a winner for this Elseworld book. I'm very excited to announce it. Congratulations to David Dunham.
Hell yeah.
You have won. You are the lucky recipient.
A winner is you.
So congratulations. There are more giveaways for the next two panels as well. Make sure to donate to be in with a chance of winning some great prizes. So check those out. If you are interested, check the chat right now. You can always click the link there and it will give you all the information you need. Yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to do this. It gave us a lot of ammunition to talk about like what we liked, what we didn't like. Is there anything we learned from this? Like, what is there anything to be learned from this before we hand it off to the Comic Academia Spotlight, tackling the fascinating history, science, and culture of your favorite comics with Michaela Laird, Danny Graydon, New Comic, Critical Rants, and for every kind of geek.
Hell of a lineup. I mean, I think if we learned anything, it's that the Superman costume, even though they will change it and update it and remix it at the end of the day, when you have something truly iconic, it never really changes that much, and the status quo is usually always returned to on it.
True. I think I've learned a little bit about myself in that I'm not quite as much of a stick in the mud as I'm accused of being, because I am like a die in the wool, like man of tomorrow. That's the suit, but I am still open to other suits. I'm like, you know what? I'm down. Like if you want to change it, if you come from an interesting perspective, if you give it. If you give it time and you give it breath and you give it some kind of like thought, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It has everything to do with character.
There's very little that we pointed to like, oh, we hate that. That's the worst ever. It's like, I see what you were going for there, but it's not for me.
Right. Yeah. I'm more than willing to just say, it's not for me. I should point out, by the way, it's been brought up in the chat. Shooter McGavin is not dead.
Oh, is he not? I thought he was.
No, he's alive.
Which guy am I thinking of who passed away just recently?
It could be anyone. There's so many dead people in the world.
I guess people die every day. You could wake up dead tomorrow.
Good night. But yeah, we've got some extra time, so we can continue to talk about it. I guess we can. You know what? Let's look at some Superboys.
Oh yes. Which is a whole.
Because I feel like there are fewer Superboy costumes than there are Supergirl costumes, so we could actually churn that out.
There's Metropolis Kid, black t-shirt,
yeah.
Whatever the hell they were doing in the New 52 when it was like graffiti.
It was like that Oh, the graffiti. I was thinking of like when he was wearing that like kind of bio suit.
Okay, well, they started with graffiti, then they replaced him with an evil one that was like the weird ass Tron suit. Boy, they had no clue what they were doing with Superboy at that time.
It was weird. Like, most comic book publishers, when you have an utter disregard for a character, you just leave him alone. But for some reason, they were like, we can't just leave him alone. And we're just talking about Connor. Like, Connor has, like you said, Metropolis Kid. He has and it's great because the Metropolis Kid suit, or rather, Connor's entire Superman history is just him taking off more clothes.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Like when he first shows up, he's wearing a full body suit, belts on the leg, 2 belts around his waist, gloves, and a leather jacket. Ditches the jacket, keeps the belt, keeps the other belts, and maybe adds some pouches, keeps the gloves. Then ditches the shirt, wears the bodysuit. Then eventually ditches the bodysuit, wears the t-shirt, ditches the pants and the belts, wears jeans instead. It's kind of fascinating to watch him just lose, just become. Eventually, he's just gonna be naked,
which I'm sure some people wouldn't have a problem with. He's back to being the leather jacket one when Bendis brought it back again. But they did a very interesting thing with the black shirt. If you've been reading Suicide Squad, it's like, oh, Waller kidnapped him and is forcing him to be her Superman. Nah, that wasn't Connor. That was Match.
Oh my god,
that was Match. His
I had
clone.
no idea.
Yeah, that was his clone from the 90s, and they're like, but hey, he gets to keep the black t-shirt look because it's pretty cool, right? And I'm like, yeah, actually, that's a thing that can be his. I actually like that a lot.
Yeah,
they had their cake and ate it too.
Exactly. And then of course there's John's suits, which have evolved a little bit up until he became Superman. But
the super hoodie is great, and I am so disappointed I could not buy the super hoodie anywhere because that is such a cool looking hoodie.
What a calamitously bad marketing decision.
You left the money on the table. And I'm sure if I went on Etsy, someone would charge me like $300 for one they made from scratch, but still.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, but like the Superboy Jonathan Kent hoodie suit is just like, what? Like,
and everybody loved it.
Immediately, no one was like, a hoodie? Because kids wear hood. Nobody complained. At least nobody that loud enough for me to have heard it.
Yeah. It was that good. It fit him. It looked good. It just it ticked all the boxes. Like it was instantly iconic.
Yeah. It's really, it's suspicious almost how well it worked.
For real.
I guess we should also bring up Superboy Prime.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. A lot more armor, a lot more intimidating, a lot more in your face.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's the beginning of it where it's just him being it's just Superman in a teenager's body. Like pre-crisis outfit, and then there's the Anti-Monitor Incorporation suit,
right?
Which is what everybody remembers.
He would also become a Yellow Lantern at some point. Didn't he also become like a host for No, it was Kyle who became host for Parallax and got all monster mouthed.
That's right. Yeah,
but that was like in the same story where it's like, oh fuck, Superboy Prime, he's so powerful. What's he go? Oh god, now he's a Yellow Lantern. Holy shit!
Yeah. And that's one of those things. It's funny because with Superboy Prime, I'm like, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want with him. Knock yourself out. He's a Yellow Lantern. He's a Red Lantern. He's a vessel of the Anti-Monitor. I don't care. With Connor, it's like, just leave the poor boy alone.
He suffered enough. Oh, here's another one too that we failed to mention. Dark Knight's Metal Superman with long hair and
yes, Metal Superman. Yes. Yeah. What's that show? Metalocalypse Superman.
Yes, very much. He is Nathan Explosion.
Yeah, it's really weird that yes, I totally forgot about that version. Uniconic, uninteresting. There's nothing about it I like.
They made a lot of toys out of it, though.
If every time I go to Target or Walmart is any indication, they made a lot of copies of that figure, and he's still there if you want him.
It's like the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. Everyone had that toy.
Yes. So, we're wrapping it up. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us and for joining us here at Home Comic Con. But don't go away. Unlike our usual show, which you can find on the YouTube channel, Comic Pop Returns, which we would love for you to subscribe to and join us over there every Friday around between 12 and 2. We encourage you to stay because there's a convention going on. There's so much more here for you to explore.
They have so much stuff. I was looking at the schedule. I'm like, wow, they really took this to the next level in year 2.
True. And 2 days. So you got today. You're going to catch the Comics Academia Spotlight, but keep going until tomorrow when you're going to pick up more shows. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of our peers are here.
Yes, very much so. Scott's running a D&D game. You know him from my Capes and Quest game, so be sure to check that out. I'm going to be watching that one for
Absolutely.
sure.
I'm going to be plunked down in front of my screen. This is where I'm living for the next 48 hours or so. So make sure to join us over here at Home Comic Con. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us, and stay tuned for more, I suppose. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to our other channels as well, and make sure to, if you have some extra cash, donate to the At Home Comic Con charity, which is of course it's a noble cause, and they did it last year and it worked really well. I'm just I'm so impressed with how with the generosity that we've seen expressed so far, and keep it up as we go. So yeah, I guess that's that. Thanks a lot for watching. And I will leave it to our intrepid moderators and organizers to wrap us up.
Play us off.
Play us off.